All right, here we go. So this presentation is how to market your business. And Emerge Technologies is the web division of McClung. We handle a lot of clients now for the last 6 years since we became a part of the infrastructure of McClung. We do a lot of website design, website development, which is more programming questions than just the graphic designer brings to the table. And also we do a lot of custom business solutions just to give people a very good idea of like how they can improve their productivity. We've built tools like plan rooms for construction companies that help them do a lot of pre-bid work. We've helped a lot of our university living with maintenance forms and things, just thinking about more creative ways to get business process to be more efficient. So that's custom business and web solutions. So hi, there's me. I'm on the big screen. There is I guess. There I am. So when we founded our company, we were definitely a much smaller group. We had just the two or three of us, and now here we are. We've got a team of 8 or 9 people. And I'm excited today to get into really talking about the how do you market your business? And one of the most fundamental aspects of this really comes from a recent book that I've been reading as well. And any of you guys may pick up on this or may not. We'll find out. But we're going to talk about that. Now, I said tell your chamber story because this was actually to the 90 state, to all the state chambers here in the area, all of the state of Virginia, with representative. I'm going to help you guys tell your story, though, in your unique business. And then I want to handle a bunch of marketing do's and don'ts real quick, just to give you some highlights, things that you might be, 1 or 2 of those might be takeaways that would help you do your job better every day. Sound good? Okay.
Sure.
Great. All right, so let's start with the why. How many of you guys, you might have to speak up on this one, have heard of Simon Sinek?
I have not.
Okay, so Simon Sinek is a kind of become a national speaker in TED Talks. If you're familiar with that concept, he has become a leader in thinking about how you present yourself in a unique capacity, really, and why people would be interested in becoming a part of whatever you're trying to do, whether that's an activity like bringing people alongside you to help support something in the community, all the way to why people buy a product from Apple versus why they buy it from Dell. And a lot of this comes down to one of the most basic concepts that he has is called the golden circle. So I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about that. But this is really what it starts with. It doesn't matter what you do, it matters why you do it. Every one of us here offers some kind of service. We can talk day and night about it, and I just did even give you guys the spiel as the basic. But I want you guys to hear the difference when you hear it translated to this new way of thinking about how you present who you are and what you do. So with that, I'm going to show you guys a Chamber of Commerce example. On the left, this was kind of the original way that this group presented themselves. I went and found some of the best I could find mission statements, honestly, truly good statements, and that were pretty well received. And then what I did was I looked at more and more of them, and I realized they were all kind of the same, and they were all kind of blah. And then I realized every business that's in a chamber does the same thing, and that's kind of a shame. So on the left is this very typical standard version. The mission of Saratoga Chamber of Commerce is to promote and improve the business environment, stimulate a vibrant local economy, and produce a cooperative effort to enhance the overall quality of life in Saratoga to its highest potential. Okay, I can relate to having had that kind of a pitch that's kind of blah, it's trying to say too much. Let's hear what a revised way of starting and thinking about this is we start with a why, and you'll see this explained in the next screen. We believe we can create a healthier Saratoga to work, live, and play in. Healthy communities require strong economies and skilled leaders. We strengthen our community by connecting businesses and training leaders. There's a total different feel between those two. We start with what we believe. We start with why we do something. People can connect more quickly to what we're trying to tell them. And so this concept is called the golden circle. And this is at least how he's put it together. So the concept here is that you are starting with the reason you provide your product or service rather than trying to say what you do, which is the last thing. And all of the really successful people throughout history, he went back and did some research through it, and he found that they all started with the why, not the what. And that's just like Apple. Why they do things is they want to be different. They want to be creative. How they do that is they create incredible user experiences on their devices. What do they offer? They offer computers. But that's why we buy from them instead of Dell, who says we make a computer that has a 500 gigabyte hard drive, because we've lost the connection to the value of it outside of it. Now, this link is the full TED Talk on the Golden Circle. It's about 17 minutes long. You guys can watch it later. I'll be happy to send you the PowerPoint and the link to make sure that you've got access to this. I think it'd be really worth it if you are in a team environment where you're working with one or two or three other people. Get them together and use this as a business development training exercise just to get a better idea, and then rethink how you write yourself. I can present Emerge Technologies as another web design company or McClung is another print company, but that doesn't really differentiate. When I talk about what we do in the web division, I say that we believe in helping people make great first impressions. Many first impressions today are through the internet. We help you present a great story online and be found on page one. Much more impressive and much more compelling than even my initial pitch of trying to explain to you who we were, right? Okay, you don't have to agree with that, but it is true. So really, this concept of the golden circle is something that I'd really like you guys to think about. And as a take home from this, watch this video, think about how do you explain it. I know that you have, on here I've seen military polo shirts. So I know that you create something, which is a polo shirt, and you have rights to put certain information on it. But why do you do it? Why do people want to come to you over anybody else? Not just because you have the royalty rights to print that piece, but you believe in serving the people that served us, and trying to get that connection to the heart, like that. Mr. Stevenson, that's just a simple example. And I know Steve, it looks like Good Shepherd Schools, which is a children's focused school / daycare combo, depending on the needs of the individual parent. And so why do you guys do it? Well, you believe in supporting the next generation of kids. How you do that is through informative and educational opportunities and oversight when parents don't have necessarily the time or the resources to be able to do everything themselves. What you offer is essentially a school and a daycare. So it's really trying to help people think about the why first. Any questions so far?
Well, this is Bill Heminger. One of the things that I feel, and we use the statement with our salespeople, feel, felt, found. We feel that we have a product to offer you that makes more sense. We have found that people that use our product does this, and we just go through that process, and it sounds very, very similar to the why, how, and what.
Yeah, it does have a lot of aspect on it because your feel is part of your why, but it's
exactly.
There's a deeper underlying level of that's how you do it. We feel it, and it's partly a why. I think you can even get deeper to say why you're even doing what you do at all.
Sure.
How big is the business, Bill? I mean, in terms of number of sales reps, 2 or 3 or 10?
We have 8. 8 sales reps, yes.
Okay. So obviously you want to try and create some kind of corporate identity, and you want them all to carry that on through into their presentation. So it's helpful for them to know even more laying that groundwork for what the company is doing and why they're doing what they're doing will help them just do the feel felt model even better. I think you're definitely, that's really good feedback to hear that you guys have heard of similar models, for sure. So this just keeps going with that principle. Just to reiterate it a little bit more clearly, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And so they might trust you on the relationship, as pointed out. Just they might know you well, or the salesperson is already trusted, but they're primarily buying on the belief that you are there to help them in some way, and that conveys the goal for them. That the goal is not to do business with everyone here. You don't want everyone as your client. You want people who believe what you believe to be your clients, and that's what we really match up with. I'm guessing, Bill, with the bigger sales force, you might have people who, they would be able to see that the goal that you're not taking on everybody that you find. You're taking on people who believe the why you feel and the felt, those are the clients you want, not the ones who disagree with you but buy your product because it's cheaper or something.
Well, exactly. And we don't deal with bigger banks. As an example, there's big banks and community banks. We found our niches with the community banks because the big banks want to negotiate down to a point where there's no profit left. And when there's no profit left, there's nothing, it doesn't do anyone any good when there's no profit left. They're just using you like a piece of meat.
And there's no more room for relationship there as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody's buying on belief; they're buying on commodity. And if you're in commodity and transactional selling, you're not going to be there forever because there's always going to be somebody who comes along cheaper or willing to
Exactly.
cut their profits to do that. McClung has the same problem. I mean, we try as hard as we can to give you guys the best pricing on any kind of print work we do. But there are always going to be printers that come out with some better price, but it may be because they're in their last month of business and they're hoping that you'll go with them. You know, we have the stability to know that we're trying to give also the best price, but we're also doing the best value through our customer service, our quick follow-ups, and those kinds of things. With the features and benefits, though, I mean, that still doesn't drive behavior as much as the heartfelt why. So we need to communicate from that inside out concept when we talk to any prospective buyer of our products or services. So now the next piece was to do some quick best practices for brand engagement. This is a little bit of a different twist because in my original request by the State Chamber of Commerce to give this presentation, they wanted me to really focus on some overview things, and about 20-25 minutes do a lot. So I'm bringing you guys some of the pieces that I got a lot of positive response from. We could dive into almost any of these pieces, but I'm just going to highlight them kind of quickly, and then we could take a minute to say, anybody got any questions about any of them or want to dive in for another 30 seconds on it? Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay. So this particular set of 10 social media, this is because we're also an online organization and they wanted to hear how can you present your business in the world online better. Well, social media still is a huge space for brand engagement, and that translates to not just Facebook. If you're a business-to-business model, like dealing with community banks, you're going to be really interested in LinkedIn. If you're going to be more dealing with parents of kids, or you're dealing with a community of people, trying to cover everybody that's on the list, then you are probably going to still be in the Facebook world to some extent. But the following back and interact. So this is the first step of really getting involved is to try and actually connect with your the base of people that are interested. So you may want to actually start before you can build your own social network of connectors. You need to go out and start looking for the people that are already successes, either in your community or in other communities, so that you can learn what they're doing well. Interacting with them would allow you to get better insight that you can bring back to your space that you're going to create. So that's the first concept. So you don't have to have 500 people liking you tomorrow to get started in social media if you haven't started yet. You just need to learn how to look for the right people, and then you can go from there. However, if you do have a good traffic, then these are some of the other things you want to do to keep growing it as well. So keeping the social in social media means defining a personality for how you're going to present the business and being consistent with it, is the next piece, which is determining your voice and your tone. So having a sense of humor is great. McClung, if you guys are following McClung or Emerge on our social media, you'll see a consistency of trying to showcase the people of the company, because we're really trying to, that's our voice and our tone, and that's our way of being social, of trying to we're not going to make a pitch that says brochures are now 20% off. It's just not the way that it works. We're trying to help you connect with the values of the organization, and that's part of how we choose our voice and tone. We're not trying to be hysterically funny, though we do like to have a good photo on Fridays that will represent, some humorous comic about the print industry or the web industry. So Funny Fridays. There you go. You can have these different themes very easily if you need that much more activity. The keeping it short, well, it's still valuable. I would say that you don't need to write 400 words or 600 words for a post. You just need to be brief. And one of the best lines I heard from, I think it was Albert Einstein quoted it actually. And let me see if I can find it real quick, because I meant to pull that up. let's see. Yes, so this is an Albert Einstein quote. Unless you can explain it simply, you do not understand it fully. Unless you can explain it simply, you do not understand it fully. So if you are trying to use your social media as a way to explain what you do or why you do it, you need to be able to do it in a concise way. The next one, number 5, has create brand awareness. So this has to do with how can you effectively keep showing your particular brand. What is your brand, and being there consistently, and that's why you do social media. You want to actually have some consistency, like a once or twice a week kind of post. You are doing it to create more awareness of your brand, and sharing, in our case with the McClung and Emerge, we are showing our people because that's part of who our brand is. Our sales force is more of who we focus on. Yes, we're a print company, and yes, we do fulfillment, and yes, we do direct mail, and yes, we do websites. Those are all great things that we do, but ultimately, it's the relationship that we have between the customer and the salesperson that allows us to be the consultative contact for any need, even if it doesn't fit us, so that we can be a good resource for them. And so we're trying to do that online by creating a brand awareness about our salespeople, getting to know us better, and that sort of thing. Don't overshare. So this just is a principle of saying that if you had a bad customer situation and you wanted to talk about it, I wouldn't do that. You don't have to give an incredible response to feel like you're going to have to jump into a conversation if it's going on either. Let the community have its discussion. You can put out a question, and then you can step back. That's another great way to create dialogue on the social media. But being transparent as possible means not deleting people's posts unless they are truly not related to this at all and it looks like spam, truly. But being able to be proactive in those situations where someone says something negatively, you want to be positive, you want to be able to give a short reply, and you want to leave it all up there for the life of the website, where life of the social media. Because ultimately, it's your opportunity to shine. It's your opportunity to continue to show your voice and your tone, to continue to show your brand in the way you react, I should say, to how things go down on the social media. And the last is just that. I was trying to tap into that a little bit as we got into it, was response to negative and positive feedback. Don't feel threatened when you see a negative comment. Look at it as an opportunity. You have an opportunity to respond to that person and say something generally nice and positive, and say, I'll be following up with you offline to continue helping and serving you. And that's it. So you don't have to turn it into an online back and forth. It's not supposed to be where you duke it out. It's just where you have an opportunity to transition that person to an offline or to a private message so that you can continue to deal with their concern and then move on from that. So I just blasted really quickly, but this is one of the key things that the Chamber felt was really important, was to talk about how they could do online social media, whether that's on LinkedIn or whether that's on Facebook or anything else. So are there any general questions about these things that I just kind of tried to highlight best practices for you?
I do.
Okay. So we're moving very quickly. We're into the second, now 2 down, 1 last third, and the marketing do's and don'ts. So this is check who you are. Get your staff on board, and that's one of the key things I was already mentioning early on, is that they need to understand your brand and why you do things and how you do them and what you do as clearly as anything else. That is the central aspect of how you can have a consistent brand awareness. This is something for those of you that do email blasts to try and talk to either new customers or to existing customers. There are some really great modern email templates that you can get and you can get them for free. I think MailChimp, between 500 and 1,000 emails out, is free if you use their tool. MailChimp is a great tool. Anybody here using e-newsletter marketing?
We use Constant Contact.
Okay, great. Teresa, are you using any e-newsletter marketing?
No, not currently.
Oh, wow. Okay. But how many tenants do you have in your property?
We have over 1,600 units in 10 different communities.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
Yeah.
that keeps it interesting. What is just to take a sidebar for just a moment? What is your best way of communicating with those individuals?
Well, we actually just came into the 21st century rather recently. So we have just set up social media accounts. We've got Facebook pages for each of the communities.
Mm-hmm.
We signed on with a software program that has what is called Active Building, which is essentially an internetwork Facebook page for the residents. So we use that for email blasts or notifications. We still use a lot of paper right now, but of course we're trying to transition into digital and less paper. We're just slowly but surely making our way there.
Well, sure. And as a employee of a paper company, don't give us up just yet. There's, but but no, it's good that you have some particularly unique industry-specific tools that you found that are helping you to reach the audience. You're doing some of the same things though. In if you're using any kind of email communication through those tools, what I would really just encourage people to do is to think about the not stuffing an email with too much information. It's okay to send 2 emails in a week that are easier to read because they are just less crammed and junked up, if you will. It's also a perfectly good thing to do um, to segment your email list so that you don't have to send to everything. So you're doing that by way of using a tool that already knows you have 10 different properties. So that works well for you. The the last piece of that I just wanted to show you is sort of what responsive is. Some folks are still learning what responsive design is, and I want to make sure that we keep everybody at McClung customers up to date. The idea here is that on your desktop you might see the grid like you do on the big screen over there on the left, but then as you change to a tablet and you go to a phone, layouts start changing. The way those boxes are presented, well, they don't have the same screen width, and so you don't want to create content and web pages for each one of these different interfaces. You want to create it for one and trust that it goes all the way down to the mobile and correctly presents whatever the screen size they have. So just that's a part of email templates, but it's also a part of your website. And so thinking through that really creates an image right now at this point of being in the 21st century, as was so well outlined. That's really going to be the last piece is just showing you a little bit of this if you were using something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, where you get to just grab these pieces on the right, drop them on the left, and you can put your content in it. And then these tools give you a way to preview it, send it to yourself, and they also allow you to just do greater marketing. But I think I've seen in my day way too many stuffed emails from businesses, and so one big picture, one big call to action with a one sentence that's really well concisely written. These are the kinds of things you want to be working on in your marketing down in the details of things. So that's it. That was it. I wanted to highlight a great book. Simon Sinek has Start with the Why. It's a great book if you want to read it with your sales team. And I think that would be a valuable thing to also do as an exercise with your team members, to ask them all why, and then ask them to present why they think that it is. Moving into the social media, as everyone has to do more and more online, just reiterating some of the best practices, making sure you're following them. And if you got one takeaway, great. And then finally, reiterating just that you need to make sure that everybody in your company is on brand. Whether they talk to customers or not, it's helpful because everybody thinks about it that way, and everybody talks to people outside of their company when they're off hours. So you have a presentation of your image to control. And then finally, think about your emails and how you do your digital communications. Try to create, if you want to talk more about that particularly or send me one, I'm happy to give you some critique on it.